Straight ahead on 12 News, changing times and changing scenery. How 2012 helped put construction workers back to work in the northwest suburbs. Then, a last-minute push for donations and how donors are answering the call. But first, a West Metro firefighter to the rescue in a much different way. 12 News starts right now.
In this season of giving, most of us had material things on our Christmas wish list.
But one Delano man had a much more important wish. Delane Cleveland introduces us to a man with a genetic kidney disease who received some help this holiday season from his self-proclaimed match made in heaven.
I guess it kind of started when I was in grade school.
For Rich Wolf,
I had suspect for it anyway.
2012 marks the end of a long journey.
Over the years, they kept monitoring it, and kidney function was never normal.
8 years ago, Rich was diagnosed with a kidney disease known as FSGS.
What that is a slow scarring of the kidneys over time.
So he put his name on a waiting list to receive a new kidney.
We were waiting to see if I could get one the traditional way through a cadaver. But it's a long waiting list, so time ran out, so we went this route.
In other words, he opted to get a kidney through a living donor rather than having to go on dialysis.
Ideally, you want to try to get a transplant before you have to go on dialysis, because that's really, really hard on your body.
That transplant came from his wife, Shelby.
For me, it was just a no-brainer. It's like, hey, he's my husband.
It's a heroic act that took place at Hennepin County Medical Center on November 27th.
For me, it's kind of like, hey, it's a match made in heaven.
But Shelby is no stranger to heroic acts. She makes a living being a hero as a firefighter with the West Metro Fire District.
If I could give my other kidney to somebody, I'd give it to somebody, but I obviously got to have one. I got to have a kidney too, so I can't.
Meanwhile, both have been recovering during this Christmas season, a season which has brought them joy and a newfound certainty about the future. They're sharing their story so others out there will consider being organ donors as well.
Well, it can save a life, it can save a family, it can give a child a father or a mother.
A gift that not only served as an early Christmas present,
I'm more or less healthy,
but an early birthday present for Rich, who turned 50 on Christmas Eve.
I don't think there's anything that compares to that.
According to officials at Hennepin County Medical Center, 30 to 45% of the living donor transplants at HCMC come from unrelated donors such as spouses, friends, and coworkers. Mike and Jen, Rich still has a couple of months of recovery and his immune system has been weakened, so he has to make sure that he doesn't get sick, but otherwise he and Shelby are both doing just fine.
And the fact that husband and wife are a perfect match for a kidney, that's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Osseo Mayor Al Lindquist has been diagnosed with prostate cancer and has surgery scheduled next week. Lindquist says it was discovered during a routine physical exam. He says doctors diagnosed it early, giving him a 98% chance of full recovery. Lindquist is 68 years old and urges other men to stay current on physical exams in order to catch a problem like this before it has a chance to spread.
Federal investigators have released a report on an airplane crash that killed a Brooklyn Center pilot and 2 family members earlier this year. 52-year-old Stuart Dahlberg and his wife, Iva Lease, and his mother were killed when their plane crashed near Glencoe, Minnesota in March. They were flying from the Crystal Airport to Colorado. A report from the National Transportation Safety Board says the small plane ran into low clouds and reduced visibility and broke up in flight about 50 miles west of the Twin Cities. It says the pilot was not trained for the weather conditions, and that caused him to lose control, putting too much stress on the plane. At the time of the crash, his brother said Dahlberg was a careful pilot who often talked about safety issues.
Golden Valley-based General Mills has agreed to resolve a lawsuit over how it labels its strawberry-flavored fruit roll-ups. A California woman had sued the company, saying the packaging was misleading when its strawberry fruit roll-ups contain no actual strawberries. Instead, the product contains pears from concentrate, corn syrup, and other natural and artificial ingredients. To resolve the suit, General Mills agreed to remove images of strawberries from the packaging, and that change will take effect in 2014. From the new FBI field office in Brooklyn Center to an expansion of the Maple Grove Hospital, there has been plenty of new developments in 2012.
Alexandra Renzo takes a look at some of the big projects in the Northwest Metro this 2012 year in review.
As the steel beams rise at Target's northern campus in Brooklyn Park, the end of 2012 is just the beginning for a $65 million expansion project that will double the size of the Target campus by 2014.
We're very locked down here.
In neighboring Brooklyn Center, it's hard to imagine a bigger year as the tightly secured FBI field office opened for more than 250 employees who moved from downtown Minneapolis.
We outgrew our space downtown. And because of the safety concerns, the government is going toward these types of facilities for the FBI.
In the fall, Brooklyn Center sounded the drums as it welcomed 2 more additions to the city. Retail giant Walmart opened for business at Shingle Creek Crossing on the site of the former Brookdale Mall. A month later, the Northwest Family Service Center opened its doors, a one-stop shop for those in need of social services.
We're just happy that it turned into something this successful.
Robbinsdale celebrated the renovation of Lakeview Terrace Park, while New Hope will soon tear down the former Kmart and a Wells Fargo drive-thru to make room for a city center. The building continues in Plymouth, where the city is one of the top spots in the metro for new home construction. In Golden Valley, plans are in the works for 3 apartment projects, new residences geared for working adults and seniors. And in Maple Grove, with sunshine streaming in, the Eastman Nature Center opened its new facility to the public.
This is Gavin and Gabe.
Meantime, a baby boom is helping fuel an expansion of the Maple Grove Hospital. The hospital's 4th floor is now nearing completion and will be ready for patients January 14th. For 12 News Year in Review, I'm Alexandra Renslow.
And 2012 provided big news on the local restaurant scene. Travail Kitchen and Amusements plans to move its popular Robbinsdale restaurant. The move won't be far, however. It's moving to a more spacious locale a few buildings down. Construction on the new, bigger Travail is expected to begin in the spring. Also new to the local restaurant scene in 2012, Eat Shop Kitchen and Bar in Plymouth and Rodizio Grill in Maple Grove. Well, still ahead, decluttering that can also do a lot of good.
We'll take a look at the last-minute rush of donations. Then later in sports, it's holiday tournament week for most local hockey teams, including Breck's Mustangs.
But first, it's your AccuWeather forecast. The end of the year means a last-minute push for donations at area nonprofits.
12 News reporter Shannon Slatton explains why, even after a successful year, donations are very much needed.
This vehicle is going to be delivered this afternoon.
The auto shop at the nonprofit Prism works essentially like a car dealership for needy families.
We really do engage that entire process front to back, from I don't have any vehicle, now I need a service station, to now I've graduated, I've paid off my vehicle, what do I do next? And we help them get into a nicer vehicle.
The last 2 weeks have been some of the busiest weeks of the year.
Right now we have people coming in to drop off vehicles. We have other people that have actually dropped off their vehicles, and we're doing different tax forms.
Those donations are important because Prism's auto shop wants to triple the number of families they help in 2013.
Our goal is to place about 15 families a month. Last year our goal was about 5, so we're doing some things that are really ramping up our processes.
Arks Valley Village will see double the number of donations come in during the last week of the year. This New Hope location will see more than 1,100 donors just this week. Arks Valley Village schedules extra staff and volunteers to make the donation process as fast as possible for donors.
Especially on New Year's Eve, we have volunteers greeting cars as they drive up, handing out their tax receipt, thanking donors so that they can drive up, we can unload it, and they can be on their way in just a matter of minutes.
The donations are then sorted and sold, with the dollars going to help people with disabilities.
It's an important revenue source for the ARC. It's over half of our operating budget. So, that shirt you no longer wear, can generate a few dollars for someone who needs it.
Shannon Slatton, 12 News.
Coming up, a standout student in Plymouth who isn't afraid to take a stand.
But first in sports, the Heritage Christian Academy boys basketball team is reaching new heights. John Jacobson joins us live from New Hope in a moment.
Time for sports, and John Jacobson is standing by live now at the New Hope Ice Arena.
It's a busy place where there's a girls' hockey tournament underway. John?
Well, thanks a lot. It's a busy week for high school hockey and basketball teams from across the state of Minnesota hosting tournaments, including the Armstrong-Cooper girls hockey team, which will host the All-Star Sports Holiday Classic beginning tonight and then continuing through Saturday here at New Hope Ice Arena. I'm joined by Kevin Gray. He's the head coach for Armstrong-Cooper. And Kevin, talk about hosting a tournament, the challenges that presents for your team and your booster club and everyone involved in Armstrong-Cooper hockey.
Yeah, it's been a busy few days trying to get everything together as far as getting the teams in and check them in and all the stuff, the prep work that goes into it, not allowing the holiday seasons going on, trying to get the girls focused for some hockey tonight.
How's your team playing right now heading into the tournament?
Pretty good, actually. We haven't played in 9 days, but we had 2 big conference wins right before the break here. We were up at Anoka and got a win there, and at Blaine the last game that we played, too.
All right, Kevin, good luck in the tournament. We'll see you later on here at New Hope.
Thank you very much.
Here's a look at the schedule of games here for day 1 here at New Hope Ice Arena. On the north rink behind me at 5 o'clock, Matamidi faces Champlin Park. That'll be followed by Armstrong-Cooper against Totino Grace at around 7 o'clock. Then on the south rink at 5:15 today, Red Wing meets Rogers, followed by Woodbury against Buffalo. While many of the holiday tournaments get underway today, some of them did face off starting yesterday, including the big Schwan Cup tournament, where the Breck boys are part of that field in the top division, the Gold Division. Breck facing Duluth East in the quarterfinals. Highlights from this one: the Mustangs strike quick. Jack O'Connor, pretty pass to spring Thomas Lindstrom for the shot on goal, and it's 1-0 Breck. Second period, the Mustangs mark sharp with a great rush to the Greyhounds net. A few nice saves by Dylan Parker, but the puck eventually bounces in. Sharp gets credit for the goal, and it's 2-0 Mustangs. Henry Johnson stops all 30 Duluth East shots, and Breck advances to the semifinals with a 2-0 win. The Heritage Christian Academy boys basketball team is off to a great start this season. Jay Wilcox has this story.
A program that's made great strides over the past few years is now ready for prime time. The Heritage Christian Academy boys are undefeated and ranked 3rd in the state in Class A.
It's pretty unbelievable to see where we came from. We had a tough road. We've only been to school for like 12-ish years, I think, and it's been a journey, and Coach Herman's done a great job with this program, and everyone's really been working hard this year, working hard this off-season especially.
We kind of knew that we had a really good freshman class that year, and we knew we had a lot of potential. And then each year built up on another, like, wow, we really are going to have a chance.
Here's the interesting thing about the Eagles' 6-0 start heading into holiday tournament play. They don't feel they've played nearly as well as they can.
Yeah, we had a couple close wins. We should have won by, I think, more, but we didn't play the greatest. So I think that if we produce 100% every night, that we'll be playing a lot better ball.
We're skilled enough and experienced enough individually to have some really good success, but we're not playing real well as a team yet.
With a very experienced team and several capable scorers, for the Eagles, rankings and regular season wins are nice, but there's really only one main goal this season.
We did get to the section final for the first time in our history, and we led by 6 points with 5 minutes to go in that section final, and ended up losing in overtime. So now we've got a taste of what that feels like, and state tournament. I mean, that's really our goal.
The pieces are in place to make a run at tournament time for Heritage. Jay Wilcox, 12 Sports.
The Eagles are facing Nevis in the opening round of the 2-day Park Rapids tournament this afternoon. Time for Channel 12's weekly ice fishing tip. Here's pro angler Terry Tuma.
Last week, we talked about some of the basics of catching fish through the ice. Let's carry that a next step forward, again, due to so many questions asked. What rod should I use? What do you recommend? And this really opens up a whole new category of selection. First of all, and I'm going to just mention what I use personally. If I'm fishing in a one-man fish house where you don't have a big area in front of where you're sitting, then obviously you got a hole right there, and so then use a short rod such as this. And what this does, it positions you right over the hole, and you have that unbelievable visual aid of this spring. Now, if you're fishing in a wheelhouse or in a bucket, or we have in a larger portable, then you can go to a longer rod. And here again, you want one that's somewhat, a softer tip, but a firmer center part to get a good hook set. And then also, if you're dead sticking, if you want to put this rod in a floor rod holder. Then you can go to a rod, obviously without a spring bobber, you can just watch that tip or use a float system or bobber system. Then of course we've got the hole jumping rods, which are new, where you could go from one hole to the next, especially like in the spring, early season, where you can jump from one hole to the next without stooping over, just stand and jig and then move to the next hole. And then of course walleye rods. Now walleye rods are going to, here again, need to fit our style of fishing. If you're fishing in a permanent house, you're fishing in a portable, and those lengths and actions need to match not only the size of the line and the lures we're using, but they have to match the conditions we are fishing. If you do select rods accordingly, you are going to increase your success. And be sure to tune in next week for another tip. Happy New Year, everybody.
Thanks, Terry. Live in New Hope at the New Hope Ice Arena, home of the All-Star Sports Holiday Classic. John Jacobson, 12 Sports. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much, John. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Well, take a good look at this week's standout student. He may be running for president one day.
Patrick Gage has a passion for politics, and he makes his views known at Providence Academy in Plymouth.
And then skiing versus snowboarding. Do you have skis at your house? I wouldn't ride if I didn't think that I could make a difference.
It doesn't take long to realize Patrick Gage has a lot to say.
I'm working on my opinion piece for this month, which is going to be about gun control.
He is the opinion editor of the school newspaper at Providence Academy.
Okay, so Jacob, you can do that.
And the writer behind a political blog.
It seems like the solutions are simple if people are willing to work together.
The elephant in the corner.
I'm kind of middle of the road, at least I would consider, for my political views, and I want people to know that it's okay to have, you know, this view over here and this view over here at the same time.
Patrick is very passionate about politics.
Journalism teacher Karen Burkhartsmeyer says Patrick's thoughtful and well-informed political views show a wisdom beyond his years.
I really respect Patrick at his age for being able to say, this is what I believe, and this is, you know, I'm putting my name on it, and if you disagree with me, I welcome that.
There's compromise to be had, but people just don't really want to do it. So it's definitely frustrating, and that's another reason why I want to write. I want to tell people, like, compromise is okay. It's a great thing.
When he isn't writing, he plays hockey at Providence Academy and rides horses outside of school. But it is his role as president of the student council that may define him best. It's a first step in his journey toward political office.
I honestly feel that, you know, he's going to be one of those who will go out and change the world and make the world a better place.
As long as I possibly can, I'll keep blogging, but definitely my hope is to be on a ballot someday.
Real nice kid, a lot of ambition, so we wish him well.
And he's talking about compromise. Maybe there should be some people
listening.
That's a good thing.
Absolutely. That's it for now.
Have a good night.